This is the Sunday stream opening song because the other song is copyrighted. La 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 la. Oh look, here comes Dog Cat Fox.
Hi, Sky.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Sunday stream. The stream I do on Sundays because Sunday is the day to stream on Sundays. And today, we're taking a trip to Memphis. Put on my blue suede shoes and I boarded a plane. Touchdown in the land of the Delta Blues in the middle of the pouring rain. No, I'm not going to keep going. I don't know all the lyrics, actually, but there you go. There's my intro for taking a look at something from Memphis. Oh, Memphis. Never been there. Maybe someday. But who's joining me on this beautiful Sunday morning to wander through the scholastic achievements of Tennessee? Seftis Wolf, good morning. John Kelly, Jaeger Pony, Keever Dam, Somnamnul Nation, Random American, Ryan R., Noah Asensio, Bridget, Jeanette Hellis, Jeanette E. Hellis, pardon me, Vera of Ashmedai, Mike R., good morning. And anybody else in the future or lurking presently, good morning to you. Decode, Funtime Bats. Good morning. Oh, I'm stretchy. I didn't sleep too good last night. I kept waking up for various reasons, and so I'm a little punchy. You know, like sleep debt punchy. Not punch drunk or nothing, but so if I ramble here and there, that's probably why. But what's on the plate for today? Well, I thought we'd go back to school. It's only been, a week? Oh, that was college. This is back down to grade school. In fact, this video is not allowed to be commented on because I think because of the title or something else, it's been filed under the YouTube Kids category, and consequently, you cannot leave comments on YouTube Kids videos. I don't know if that was part of the design, but that is the result. And so I'm curious to find out what they have to say here, as we're going to learn about, where is it now? Access, equality, and student grades in the Shelby County schools. Now, there's one caveat I will put on this before we begin. I'm hesitant to play footage of any, interviews with children. I don't know if there are any interviews with children on here. I scanned through the video a little bit to make sure that I wasn't, putting on some kind of student meeting or something. But if for whatever reason over the course of the video we come into sections where they're talking to children or children are being asked things, I might skip over those because I'm not really comfortable with children being spokespersons for things like that. So we'll see. Probably not, but we'll see. Otherwise, yeah, as far as I know, this is a presentation reporting on new grading policies that are aiming towards equity or equality in the schools. Now, how does that work? Don't know. I'm hoping we'll find out together. J2022, Brittany Holland. Who else is here? Tall Person, a Scanner Daftly. Good morning. Anyway, with all that as preamble, I'll start off with a few seconds for a sound test. You guys tell me if you can hear it. This clocks in at just under 25 minutes, so I think we'll get through the whole thing. But my usual aim is to do about an hour and a half at most in real time. Is there anything else I'm missing? I might be missing something because, like I said, I'm a little sleep deprived. Be sure to check at the top of the chat box for the GoFundMes for our friends Shady Grin, Angry Illinoisian, and his kitten. Their friends and loved ones could certainly use your help if you have a couple of extra bucks. And if I'm not mistaken, I have to at least make a note of this. I believe Keeverdam posted a super chat yesterday, and it has since disappeared. So I want to at least acknowledge that. Thank you, Keeverdam. I don't remember what it said, so if you want to remind me at some point, just so I can make sure I get that registered for the record, let me know. Anyway, all that is rambling preamble. Let's get into it. Oh boy, MSCS, whatever that means, Access, Equality, and Student Grades. Oh boy, I've done a couple of videos on grading for equity in the past, although I'm not sure I've done one recently that dealt with elementary school. As far as I know, this is elementary school. I'm happy to be correct as the video goes on, but there was something indicating to me that this was like, grades 1 through 5 or something. So we'll find out. Let's see. So Manuel says no, equality. Yes, equality. Did I say equity? I meant equality. Wait. No, wait. Oh my God. Equality? What? I didn't even notice that. What? I didn't put that in the title, did I? What is going on right now? It is equality. What? I didn't even notice. I'm sorry, guys. Okay, so I took the title from the title of the video to put in my my overlay. Does it really say equality? You are no, come on. Tell me that's like some kind of inside joke. Like the mascot of the school is like a porcupine or something. And then it makes some kind of sense. Please don't tell me it is. Okay, all right. Well, so just for the record, I just copied and pasted the title of the video into the overlay. So that's their fault, not mine. But I should have noticed. But I wouldn't have corrected it because if that's out... We're not even a second in. Holy cats, guys. Holy cats. Thank you, Keeverdam. Keeverdam! It was Dogcat Fox. Also, thanks to Pony for showing the GoFundMe's this time. Yes, thank you, Jaeger Pony. And thank you, Keeverdam. That is ridiculously generous of you, as always. And it was Dogcat Fox, you say. Well, then.
Well.
That's Tailed Feature, providing his lovely Scottish accent to Dogcat Fox. Now, thank you, Keeverdam. Thank you so much. Okay, equality. Please tell me that is intentional. Please tell me that wasn't some ridiculous typo that carried over not only from the presentation, but into the actual title of the YouTube video. Tell me that is an acknowledged joke.
Educators, thank you for taking the time to review key points of information that will go into effect during the upcoming school year.
I'm glad to pay attention. Angela Whitelaw, or Whitlaw, depending on how you pronounce it, Deputy Superintendent of Academics, MSCS, which I assume stands for Memphis Shelby County Schools. Okay, please tell me that your mascot is a porcupine and equality makes some kind of sense.
Throughout this video presentation,
yes,
we will share updates concerning the new Memphis Shelby County Schools grading scale.
The new grading scale. Okay. Well, that's very bare bones, all right?
And provide helpful hints regarding access, equity, and students' grades.
You said equity, not equality. Okay.
Let's first start with the new grading scale. You see the former MSCS grading scale,
what?
But now, following the guidance from the Tennessee Department of Education,
what?
MSCS has adopted a 10-point grading scale.
Whoa. Okay, well, we're not even a minute into this. Talk about literally lowering the bar. For those of you listening at home, the former scale to get an A was 93 to 100. Now it is 90 to 100. Okay, not exactly drastic. To get a B, it was 85 to 92. Now it's 80 to 89. To get a C was 75 to 84. Now it's 70 to 79. To get a D, it used to be 70 to 74. And now it's 69 to 60. And to get an F, you had to hit below 70 previously. Now it's if you hit below 59. I mean, it's not terrible, but but it's literally... Okay, all right, I'll wait. I'll wait for an explanation.
An A will now range from 90 to 100. A B will range from 80 to 89. A C will range from 70 to 79. A D will range from 60 to 69. And an F will consist of grades 59 and below.
And they mixed up the D. The D should be 60 to 69, not 69 to 60. Okay, equality and transposed D scores. All right.
My name is D'Angelo Piggies, a teacher at Balmore Ridgeway Elementary School.
Hello.
I'm Catherine Fry, a third grade math teacher at Balmoral Ridgeway Elementary School.
And our session is access, equity, and student grades.
No. Equality. Equality. I wonder, is equality the combination of equality and equity? Is that what it is? Maybe that's what it is, like a hybrid word. Maybe that's a new buzzword, buzz phrase.
Our guiding question for today is, how can we strengthen our students' success and passing potential during their MSES tenure and beyond?
I don't know. I am curious to find out, though. Maybe it was just sort of sticker shock to me, but that grading scale change seemed awfully drastic, especially from the what qualifies as an F to go from 70 to 59. I mean, that might seem reasonable, but it just seems like such a drastic change. I'd be curious to know if they ever go across what justified those changes or what inspired them to make those changes. Holy cats. Brett Ide, thank you so much. Stoka into his house. Stoka? Is it Stoka or Staka? I'll make sure I get that right. Stoka. But either way, Brett Ide, again, that is ridiculously generous of you as always. Thank you so much. I don't know what else to say, but I want to get your name right or your nickname right. Is it Stoka or Staka? Am I stocking the shelves or am I stoking the flames? You tell me. I don't think I've ever had to say it out loud before. Okay, so, and Lexi Mads, hello. If I didn't say hello. Swirl Blue, good morning. You're ridiculous lunatic. Anal Lynn, who else is here while I'm at it? Anybody else that I missed? Rotten Corpse, good morning. Good morning to you. I got it the first time. Stoka. All right, Stoka the flames. Stoka the flames. Okay, please explain to me, I hope, why you made the changes to the grading scale that you did. What was the reasoning behind it? Also, that is an amazing tie.
Now let's look at our do now, which is supporting student success.
Okay.
Think about a student who's experiencing success in your class.
Okay.
And conversely, think about a student who's experiencing challenges in your class, particularly in terms of achieving a passing grade.
Okay, I am imagining, because that's all I can do, a successful student and a student that is struggling. Okay?
And from your perspective, why do you think the student is currently experiencing challenges?
Like just hypothetical student, or am I supposed to be thinking about a specific student if I was a teacher? I don't know. I can imagine a million different things. So what do you have to say?
Then what are the gaps between the struggling and successful student?
I don't know.
Dr. Michael Lowe, the SES Director of Office and Equity, has a message to frame the learning we will engage in today. Dr. Michael Lowe.
Hello, parents. Hello, administrators and teachers. My name is Michael Lowe. I'm the Director of Equity and Access for Shelby County Schools.
When do we get to equality? I want to find out about equality. I want to at least extend the benefit of the doubt that that was intentional. That is like some new catchword for equality, equity combined together. Or again, like mascot is a porcupine or something.
I want to encourage all of us to use the best and most effective practices for our grades in this school year. Our grading protocols reflect the efforts of our students with project-based learning, with homework, with quizzes, with tests.
Yeah.
New information out of Chicago in their research brief has stated that GPA and grades are most effective correlates of college success than even ACT scores.
That doesn't sound like news to me, but again, I'm not a professional educator. Okay, when do we get to the whole grading thing? You gonna tell me how I should be framing the struggling student versus the successful student?
So we want our children to continuously be sorted in and not cast away because of poor grades.
Uh-huh.
I want to encourage you and let you know that grades are more than just giving assignments.
Yeah.
Grades are a turnaround effort to make sure we get the best and pull the best out of what our students can do.
Well, okay. Well, grades are more just a sign of one's progress and proficiency in a subject, right? They're a measurement. They're not an item in and of themselves. They're a guidepost. Hopefully for the teacher to see which students need more help with certain subjects than others, or like pairing up students that have a subject down with students that don't, that kind of thing. But again, I'm not a professional teacher, so all right.
To cultivate genius and make sure that they are learning every single day.
Cultivate genius? Okay.
Again, my name is Michael Lowe. I want to encourage you to continuously have a good year.
Yeah.
And let's do the best and call our students in and let them see what they can be in our grading practices.
What did any of that even mean?
So let's look at our session goals for today.
Okay.
The goal of this session is to examine the SCS grading expectations, the content-specific grading guidances,
right,
the best practices, and the barriers to success for the purpose of strengthening the grading practices for the 2022-23 school year and beyond.
I think your card is a year behind or so because it says the 2020-2021. So far we had the transposed numbers on the D grade, we had the misspelling of the title, equality, and now you got the wrong card up. This isn't boding well.
Now, in this session, teachers will discuss barriers to success as it regards to students' outcomes and grades.
Yeah.
The teachers will identify core curriculum components that may serve as formative and summative grades, which are aligned to the MSCS grading categories and weights.
Summative.
And teachers will share successful tips and tools for the grading practices.
I'm enthused beyond words. I don't have the words to describe how enthused I am. So, go ahead.
Now, our agendas are these. Today, we will look at the data and research. We will look at the grading protocol and guidance, best practices. Then we're going to wrap up this lesson with the bridge practice.
You might also want to fix your microphone. That's not me, by the way. That's them. If I start sounding like that, please let me know because then we'll have a different problem.
Now, today in our agenda, we're going to look at the data and research.
Please.
Take a moment to read the quote from the late Dr. Ron Edmonds, a former director of the Center for Urban Studies at Harvard University.
Okay.
And the statement says this: we can, whenever and wherever we choose, successfully teach all children whose schooling is of interest to us.
Really? That almost sounds like a guarantee. We can successfully teach all children. Well, can you?
You already know more than we need to know in order to do that. Whether or not we do it must finally depend on how we feel about the fact we haven't so far.
Okay, maybe my brain is still waking up, but that doesn't sound like anything. Does that make sense to anybody else? I don't know. That's I don't know.
Now, is this statement true now as it was then?
I don't know. It doesn't sound like it's a statement dependent on the time period.
So let's now look at some data.
Okay, that's the point.
What is the culture of grading in general, especially at a time when achievement is influenced by factors beyond students' control?
At a time when achievement is influenced by factors beyond students' control. What does that mean? There's always factors influencing students beyond their control. What? Are you talking about? You're talking about the pandemic? Is that what you mean?
High school GPA is 5 times more likely to predict college success than ACT scores. Whites, along with other students, were more likely to have a mean GPA equal to or greater than 3.0. And their highest means GPA were in the Central City East region for 2 years, and their lowest was in the North region for all 3 years.
Okay.
Let's look at some more data.
What? Well, no. Wait. What conclusions do you reach from that data? We're going to get to that, right?
Latinx students had their best performance in the Southwest region
Mm-hmm.
and their worst in the Central City East region for 2 years.
Sounds like the Central City East region has some issues.
However, their largest gains came in the Southeast region.
Uh-huh.
And they were also likely to have higher GPAs than other ethnicities in the North region.
Okay. What conclusions do you draw from that?
And finally, African Americans. African American students had the lowest mean GPA for all 3 years in every region except the Central City East.
All right, so what's going on? Okay, so let me back up a little bit just so I can... What was the other card? Come on. All right, so white students, highest means GPA were in the Central City East region for 2 years. Okay, and the Latino students were the worst in that same region. African Americans were the best of all regions in that same region. Okay.
Largest gains came in the Southeast region. And they were also likely to have higher GPAs than other ethnicities in the North region.
Uh-huh.
And finally, African Americans.
Oh, sorry, I missed.
African American students had the lowest mean GPA
Okay.
for
I
all
jumped
3
back too far.
years
Pardon.
in every region except the Central City East.
Uh-huh.
However, they were also the only ethnicity to have their 2019-2020 means GPA as the highest of all 3 years in every region.
Uh-huh.
Their best performances was in a different region each year. Their worst was in the North region all 3 years.
Uh-huh.
What are the implications of the data just reviewed?
That's what I'm curious to find out. What conclusions do you draw from this? Divvying everybody up on the basis of race.
Right. Now that you've had a
What?
couple of moments
Whoa. You're going to go into the implications now, right?
to think about that data,
Yeah. Uh-huh.
here are some questions to consider regarding barriers.
What?
Based on the data we just reviewed, what current barriers are you encountering with students achieving successful grades?
Wait, based on the data we just reviewed. So if I'm a teacher, if I'm an active teacher in the Shelby County schools, the only basis on which I can interrogate the situation is on the basis of race. What current? You're not giving me many options, are you? Location and race. That's it. Except that it seems to be moving year to year. So I don't know. You tell me. What would you come up with? I'm completely lost right now.
What are the perceived factors which contribute to these barriers?
The perceived factors? Well, from what you gave us, I'm assuming geography and race.
What types of challenges are you having instructionally?
Based on that data? You didn't talk about anything about instruction. What?
What challenges are you having with collecting and grading work?
Based on the data we just reviewed. Okay. I don't know. Are you going to be answering any of these questions? Are you going to have like one of the teachers? Like, I mean, the first speaker said he was a teacher. Is he going to start giving some examples of what he's encountering? Something?
What barriers are our students encountering?
Based on the data, location, and race, apparently. I
Notice the remaining question, or the last question.
yeah.
What barriers are our students encountering?
I don't know.
Take a moment to review the 4 key components at the heart of high quality instruction.
The 4 key components, and you've got 5 things showcased there. What?
Which components do you value?
Of the 5?
As we diagnose grading practices,
Well, okay, all right, good gravy. Back up. Equality, flipping the numbers on the D grade, getting the year wrong on your first card, the 4 key factors when you have 5 items displayed. Okay, what are the 5 key factors? Consistent opportunities to work on grade appropriate assignments. The question is, which components do you value? Okay. Strong instruction that allows students to do the thinking in the lesson. Allows a sense of deep engagement in what they're learning. I love how the text is justified center and not justified to the left. Anyway, teachers who hold high expectations for students and truly believe they can meet grade level standards. Truly believe? And then lastly, TNTP. It's dynamite? The Opportunity Myth 2018. I'm so lost. I obviously this is made for somebody who actually works at these schools, I guess, because I've got no reference point for whatever this is.
which components do you value?
I don't know.
As we diagnose grading practices, allow these key components to stand at the foundation of access, equity, and student grades.
What? Whoa! What? Oh, did you mean to flip to that next card?
Some key ideas and takeaways from data and research are: the foundation of access, equity, and successful student grading is high quality instruction.
What?
Teaching and learning in a virtual environment and barriers beyond students' control impact students' abilities to achieve successful grades.
Wait, are you reading off of the card you jumped away from? 907. Yes. Okay, so you jumped to another card and then jump back to the previous card, but you're reading from the card that you didn't stay on. Okay. 907.
Shelby County Schools data indicates that the region in which a student attends school, along with the race of a student, impacts their mean GPA.
That's the only thing you could draw a conclusion from the data you showed. That's it. That is it. That last point is the only one, based on what you gave us, that you could make a conclusion from. Everything else, I don't know what you're talking about. You didn't show us anything. You haven't given us any examples. You haven't given us any data. It was all just regional and race-based.
Educators have the knowledge to successfully teach all students.
Really? Really? Oh, okay. So my math teacher was going to be just as good at teaching, world history? As someone who, had their primary discipline in world history? Is that a belief or is that a fact? What?
So now that we have reviewed data and research,
No, you okay.
Next we will look at grading protocols and guidance.
Okay. All right. Let's look at that.
The district believes that providing academic grades is important to ensure that students and parents receive information regularly about student academic progress to facilitate learning and parent engagement.
Okay, well, now here's something that I am legitimately glad to hear, and that is actually mentioning parents in the process. Because how often do we watch these educational promotional videos or surveys or reviews, and the parents never come up? So kudos for that. That aside, yes, grades tell the teacher and the parents how the student is doing. Yes, thanks. What?
This grading protocol, aligned with board policy, sets forth district-wide standards for grading students in grades 1 through 5.
Okay.
And provides a foundation for consistent grading practices from teacher to teacher and school to school.
Yes, having academic grading standards in a district. Yes.
Within the district.
Yes.
It supports policy 5014.
Okay.
During your pre-work, you had a chance to peruse this document.
I did.
Let's reflect on the questions shown here.
Okay.
To what extent do you adhere to the district-required grading categories and weights?
To what extent do I adhere? Well, hopefully I'm adhering to them as they're published, so that you have that standard of expectation, school to school and teacher to teacher. Our teachers, I mean, obviously all teachers have a certain amount of leeway if you're grading a paper, but yeah.
What practices, tips, tools, routines, and best practices have you found helpful when identifying tasks, collecting work, creating makeup opportunities, and planning scaffolds for learning?
Why are you asking me? Why aren't you giving me some ideas? This is a recorded video. This isn't a panel discussion. Okay.
Here is the grading guidance document produced by our C&I department. There are grading guidance documents for every grade level and every content area designed to support teachers with options for grading.
Yeah.
You can find these documents via the link shown here on the slide.
Okay.
All right. Now that we have reviewed grading protocols and grading guidance documents, the question is, how can we strengthen our student success and passing potential during the 2022-23 school year and beyond?
Well, if your comparison of grading standards before and after are any indication, it's gently lowering the standards, unless there's something else going on here.
Just as a reminder, here are the district-required grading categories. This information, of course, is found in the grading protocol document on page 2. The district believes that a sufficient number of grades should be earned and recorded to accurately reflect a student's progress. Students in grades 1 through 5 must be provided an opportunity to earn at least 17 grades per 9 weeks.
17 grades, okay.
Or a quarter.
Yes.
Distributed among the above categories and weights, with the exception of projects, portfolios, and presentations. 2 grades for each required category, totaling 8 grades, must be earned and recorded by the interim of the 9-week period. Think about how your current grading practices align with SCS requirements.
Okay, and again, this gets into such, shop talk in the weeds of educational process that I don't know I don't have anything to say to this. I don't know if that's a good setup or a bad setup. I'm sure that there are those of you in the audience who are either teachers or know more about this than I do that can have far more to say. So please, if you do, once the stream wraps up, and I'll look for comments here in a minute, post a comment that can go into some more depth on this, or what your analysis is of this process or of this initiative of theirs, because I'm obviously in the dark here a little bit. Jeanette E. Hellis, I won't lie, that grading system isn't too bad. I had it in my schools and live in Florida. Okay. I mean, admittedly, it has been a long time since I had to actually take a look at or analyze grades in any particular way. So maybe I'm just I'm out of practice, as it were. Ryan R., a minimum of 1 for projects, but she said a minimum of 2 must be recorded for each category mid-semester. Yeah, I didn't quite get that either. She says you have to get 4 grades, minimum 4 grades per quarter, 17 minimum. But then she said 2. At this stage of the game, I'm not sure that this presentation was very well planned out. So, yeah, you're a ridiculous lunatic. Memphis schools are completely broken. This is all that can be learned from this debacle. Well, I don't know. Like I say, I can't tell just so far, save for, the idiosyncrasies of the presentation so far, I can't tell whether this is a standard way of grading or an imbalanced way of grading. I don't know. Lexi Mads, I now feel bad. I want to apologize to all my substitute teachers. It wasn't their fault. Yeah, substitute teachers are kind of locked into, they just walk in, they're filling in for a day or 3. That's about it. Yeah, and I had some lousy substitute teachers. I had some really good substitute teachers. It's the really good substitute teachers that I'm thinking, why aren't you a full-time teacher somewhere? I didn't quite get that kind of suspicion until later on in life, but I always wonder.
The district provides examples of grading tasks and approaches that align to each grading category. Let's take a look at homework.
Okay, well, before we move on, I just want to sort of state this as a blanket rhetorical question because I doubt it'll be answered. What is the problem that is attempting to be addressed here? All right, so presumably the main thing that they showed was the different grading outcomes, or I should say success outcomes, not grading outcomes, but success outcomes in the various regions, and then, again, delineated on the basis of race. Okay, so if that's the problem, I'm waiting to hear how this new grading system is meant to address this. Like, if this region had this outcome for this racial demographic, the grading system we are implementing will address that by XYZ, PDQ, whatever. That's what I'm waiting to hear, or have some example given to us of.
We know we need a minimum of 4 grades. Notice that this can include reading and writing assignments as well as practice pages and activities. When we look at class participation, this includes clarifying questions, answering questions, citing relevant evidence, and a host of other activities that we can have our students engage in during class time. Projects can include monologues, dialogues, PowerPoint presentations, and other research-based writings. Finally, we know assessments would focus on test evaluation and performance-based assessments.
Isn't that just common sense? Did we really need this slide to describe what homework is, what constitutes class participation, what a project is versus an assessment? I mean, okay.
Classwork is different from participation and includes reading, writing, speaking, and engaging in other performance-based assignments.
Yes. Is this for professional teachers, or is this a, how to be a teacher 101? Because that just felt like it was completely boilerplate common knowledge.
So what activities do you include in these grading categories?
Okay.
Think about authentic examples you have engaged your students in this year. Let's look at the homework category.
Okay.
What are some examples of homework that you engage students in?
Here is a list of math questions. Go home, work with your parents to complete them and bring them back tomorrow. We're reading, Moby Dick. We're going to be talking about chapters 1 and 2 tomorrow. So go read chapters 1 and 2 and be prepared to discuss them in class. That would also be sort of a combination between homework and then classwork. All right. So, but I don't know how you would divvy that up. I suppose you'd have to sort of measure those separately. But okay.
What are some examples of classwork that you engage students in? What are some examples of projects that you engage students in? All right, so here's a completed example which reflects some of what you just shared.
Okay.
Homework opportunities could include Florida Virtual Schools curriculum,
Uh-huh.
Wonders practice book pages, reading and writing companion, etc. Great Minds Eureka Math.
Uh-huh.
Class participation may include Wonders SEL discussions.
Ooh, SEL, social emotional learning. Wonders SEL discussions. Wonders practice book page. Is Wonders a like an academic material company or something? Wonders SEL discussions. Ooh, I might have to look that one up.
Wonders Make Connections Partner Talk.
Wonders Make Connections Partner Talk. It sounds like the title of like a Borat show or something.
Contribute ideas to anchor charts.
Okay.
Contribute ideas during the daily wrap-up.
Uh-huh.
iReady classwork may include iReady Teacher Toolbox resources.
Right.
Great Minds in Sync resources. Projects, portfolios, and presentations. Wonders Research Inquiry projects.
Uh-huh.
And for assessments, Wonders Unit Progress Monitoring assessments.
Do you think they're leaning too much on whatever Wonders is to guide most of their educational progress? To me, that feels a little too much like too many eggs in one basket. But maybe that's just me.
Wonders Unit Assessments.
Uh-huh.
Great Minds in Sync mid and end of module assessments. And Great Minds in Sync topic quizzes.
I wonder if Wonders is run by like the nephew of the the district superintendent or something. Wonders. I got to look into this now.
Here's some food for thought.
Okay.
How are grading opportunities communicated to students and parents?
How are grading opportunities communicated to students and parents? Well, I mean, that's not illegitimate to be able to express to the students and the parents, like, here's the expectations and here's how we grade these things, so they have some understanding of it, so it doesn't feel like it's outwardly unfair. So that will be important. Does the district not provide such materials as to, inform students and parents of the grading opportunities or the grading system?
This question may seem rhetorical, but we want to make sure we are intentional about communicating grading opportunities to our students and parents.
Yeah, so you have some kind of set standardized material that says, hey parents, hey students, this is how the grading system works. It's very intentional to already have that prepared ahead of time. This is that's what this presentation is, isn't it?
So here are some key ideas to take away from grading protocols and guidance.
Okay.
In support of BOE Policy 5014, the MSCS grading protocol for elementary schools in grades 1 through 5 sets forth district-wide standards and provides a foundation for consistent grading practices across the district.
Was that not the case before? This presentation is very confusing to me. Is this meant to inform me of changes being made and the reasons thereof? Or therefore, I should say? Or is this just, here's how grading works?
Academic grades are important to ensure students and parents receive frequent information and student academic progress.
Yes.
MSCS requires specific grading categories and weights per 9 weeks.
Someone is really off on their trigger finger for bringing up these bullet points.
17 grades per student and 2 grades for each required category, totaling 8 grades earned and recorded by the interim of the 9-week period.
What? 17 grades per student and 2 grades for each required category, totaling 8 grades. Which is it? Is it 17 or is it 8? What? My brain is obviously not awake yet this morning.
Students must be given the opportunity for makeup work and grade intervention.
Okay, what does that look like?
Curriculum and instruction grading guidance document provides resources for every grade level and every content area to support teachers with grading opportunities.
Okay.
Here's our agenda slide again. We will now discuss best practices and wrap up with a bridge to practice.
Okay, again, what motivated the shift in the grading scale? How does the shift in the grading scale address the problems described in the regional and racial demographic data? That's, at this point, those are my only two big questions. And they're not being answered. This is, I talked about this in my talk with Tailed Feature when I started off our discussion about independence. How many times do we see a presentation where someone's offering up and explaining a solution to a problem, ostensibly, without actually describing the problem or saying how the solution is going to address the problem? Are we going to get there? Thank you, John Migda. Hi, Scribe. Hi, John. How's it going? I don't know why I just raised my voice up to Mickey Mouse levels there, but there you go. Hi. Also, P Dog Knight. Good morning to you, sir. How are you doing? Hope you're doing well this morning. Guys, if you haven't already, if you don't know who P Dog Knight is, well, what's wrong with you? Go search him up on YouTube and follow him on his channel. Check out his morning streams. I believe it's every morning at around 7 a.m. on my clock on the Pacific Coast. So I think that's 10 a.m. East Coast time. Might be 9 a.m. where he is. I forget. You're in Minnesota, right? Is Minnesota Central Time or is that East Coast time? I forget. I don't know these things. I'm going to blame it on my waking up brain. There you go. Let's see. Dax Orion. If you don't say, "Here comes the sun" once a week, the Teletubbies get tummy aches. I have absolutely no idea what that means, but there you go. Lexi Mads, how many times do we watch a video and Scribe yells "why" and "how" at it like they're going to answer? I know. This is how my mind works. This is what I want to have happen. It's sort of like, for those of you that are old enough to remember, original Nintendo Entertainment Systems. You're holding the controller. Do you recall ever moving the controller to try to make Mario jump higher or to try to move your Contra guy over more than he actually is moving? You know that? You know how the action you're taking rationally, has absolutely no effect on the content you are currently consuming, yet you still feel motivated and compelled to do it anyway? That's me. When I'm asking questions at the screen, when I'm yelling and complaining, that's me moving the controller that's a cord attached to the machine. That's what that is. That's my best analogy.
We want to emphasize our goal here. We as teachers thinking about how we are structuring grading so that it is fair and representative of the work we are asking of our students on a daily, weekly, and quarterly basis.
Okay, how do you assess fair? What do you mean fair?
But also, we are looking at how we can dig deeper into accounting for barriers our students face.
Such as, you keep talking about barriers, you've asked rhetorically the viewer for examples of barriers. What barriers have you divined from your data? I mean, I can assume what you think the barriers are, but then of course the following question is then, what are you doing to address those barriers? How does changing the grading scale address those barriers?
And thinking through scaffolds to accommodate and support the success of our students, especially those who face a range of barriers.
Such as?
Please take some think time and reflect on these two questions.
Take some think time?
Let's focus on question 2.
Okay. Question 2, equity and access. As it relates to grading, how have you differentiated to meet the needs of your diverse learners? Okay, well, first, and this is me just guessing, I am not an educational professional. First, I would have to, at some point early on in the school year, do some kind of assessment to find out where all the students are on the various subjects: math, reading, arithmetic, math, and arithmetic. And then finding out where they are using the grading scale, I would then see, okay, student A needs more help in math than student B. In fact, student B is excelling in math. Maybe I should pair up B and A together so that B can tutor A. Same thing for, language arts or anything else. Like that's how I would do it. I first have to find out where everyone sits in the various disciplines, right? And then make the focus on those areas where they are not doing too well, or find ways to enhance them in those areas that they're not doing too well, or take advantage of the other students in the class as tutors, etc. That's how I would have differentiated. I'd have to test them first.
As it relates to grading, how have you differentiated to meet the needs of our diverse learners? Thank you for sharing your ideas.
What?
Here are some grading management and equity in action suggestions from the district.
Okay. You're not going to read
Some
them?
best practices regarding grading management would be to allow opportunities to redo assignments and retake assessments, or redo missed items on assessments.
I mean, it would we're talking about grades 1 through 5, right? Okay. I don't know how many times you want to like step backwards or something. Right? It's like, okay, if you did an assignment and you didn't do well at it, okay, then between the time that you do assessment A and assessment B, that's when you work with the student to try to build their skills up. So by the time you get to assessment B, they have the knowledge necessary to do well on B. I don't know. I guess it depends on the assignment. I guess it depends on the situation.
Provide timely feedback on assignments.
Sure.
Incorporate rubrics to provide students with guidance on what mastery looks like.
Okay.
Build soft skills without including them in the overall grade or average.
What?
Mistakes made along the way are not regarded as failures.
Well, yeah, you don't grade a kid on their efforts to get better at it ahead of a test or in between assignments or something. Sure. Okay. Yeah. Especially, again, we're talking about 1st to 5th graders. We're talking about like 6 to 11-year-olds or something. So, yeah, you don't want to like dwell too hard on it, but you also want to set an expectation and encourage them to do better. Okay.
Assess student performance individually when assigning group work.
Sure.
And we also have some best practices for equity in action.
Okay.
Allow students to complete fewer items on assignments.
Allow students to complete fewer items on assignments. Why?
Or you could allow them to only complete certain items on the assignments.
Why?
Amplify the academic language by providing pictures and visuals.
We are talking about 1st through 5th graders, so sure, okay, but I still want to know why.
Give explicit instructions in student-friendly language.
Sure, I mean, you wouldn't. You don't want to bark at kids. It's like, you small heathens, complete thy assignments on this day, or you shall not get your cookie. Like, what is student-friendly language? I'd love to hear what an example of that is. Like talk to kids like a reasonable individual, like, or I guess I'd rather know what is a non-student friendly language example. What does that look like? Sound like?
Establish a clear grading system. Provide a clear purpose and goal for each assignment.
Yes. Set expectations and hold kids to those expectations. So why then only allow them to complete certain items? Right? Why not require that they complete the assignment? Unless the assignment is some kind of, buffet, like pick, choose, or otherwise. And as far as the visual aids are concerned, I mean, 1st or 2nd grade, yeah, okay. I mean, accompanying the actual, verbal stuff, because they have to learn how to read, right? They know how to read by this point. I mean, visuals to help illustrate complex ideas, I get it, okay? But you're not going to completely lean only on the visuals, right? You're going to require them to be able to have literacy skills, or at least encourage those, yes?
Provide individual check-ins for assignment progress.
Yeah.
Allow students make-up opportunities.
Sure.
And expand the concept of classwork. For example, they could finish and turn it in after class.
Okay, sure. Get it into me by the end of the day, I guess. Although that kind of, how does that work with the rest of the structured day? You know, I mean, if you're setting aside, I've got 20 minutes set aside to do this subject, and then 20 minutes for this, and then we have a break. Where are the kids going to find the time? Are you going to set aside specifically like, okay, now we're going to have 15 minutes of quiet classwork time? I can see that. Is that what you mean? Could you give me some guidance, you know, because you're here to give me guidance as a hypothetical teacher? All right.
Thanks, Catherine. Now let's look at what some teachers say in regards to grading.
And now Chip with the weather.
Here's Tanika Parker from Robert R. Church.
Okay.
She said, I've learned that effective written or verbal feedback per grading assignment increases chances of students improving their grade.
Okay. Again, maybe I was spoiled growing up. I don't know, in the teachers that I had in the schools that I was in. I mean, I had some lousy teachers, don't get me wrong, but all the same, yes, having the teacher engage with the student about their assignment, you know, or giving like written feedback, like, I give you back your test and here are the excellent, you got this right, or not quite, think about that kind of thing. What, you know, isn't that just basic educator feedback? Isn't that just boilerplate student-teacher interaction? Is that really something that needs to be highlighted as unique? Or are things that bad over there that this is some kind of novelty? I'm confused.
James Stuck from Germantown said this. A grading practice I find helpful is to keep titles and entry consistent.
Okay, you're quoting people and then you're putting quotes on the screen of people you haven't quoted yet. What? This presentation is such chaos. Okay, I'm going to stop trying to read what's on the screen because that's where my mind went. As soon as he started talking, I'm thinking, oh, I'm going to be reading that quote. I'm not reading that quote because that's not the quote you put up on the screen. Let's try that again.
Per grading assignment increases chances of students improving their grades.
Yes.
James Stuck from Germantown said this. A grading practice I find helpful is to keep titles and entry consistent, using similar names and entries with changes to chapters or lesson numbers. It makes it easier for the students to refer back to it as needed.
A grading practice I find helpful is to keep titles and entries consistent, using similar names and entries with changes to chapters or lesson numbers makes it easier to refer back to. Okay.
Lindsay Omo at Peabody Elementary School said this. My best grading tip would be giving grades in a variety of areas as well as to chance to earn bonus points to lower specific class activities or assignments.
That's not what the quote said, but anyway, my best grading tip would be giving grades in a variety of areas as well as a chance to earn bonus points to a low score by participating in a specific class activity or assignment. Why? Okay. So something that you would have made the students do anyway, the students who have a low grade, you're going to offer bonus points to for doing something that they were going to be made to do anyway. Do the students that have a decent or high grade also get those bonus points for participating in a specific class activity or assignment? Would they not have participated in that activity or assignment otherwise? Really? Earn bonus. I love how it's in quotes too. Isn't that just padding without actually challenging the children to learn anything new? Or am I misreading that? I hope I'm misreading that because that sounds like nonsense.
And of course, I said this. One of the best practices when it comes to grading is equity and access.
Okay, what is equity and access? You keep using those words, but I haven't heard them defined.
It is vitally important that you give students as many opportunities as possible to ensure they have access to a high grade in their subject.
And many opportunities to ensure that they have access to a high grade. Access. No, it's about earning it. It's about hitting the mark. As many opportunities as possible. You know what image just came to me as I'm thinking about that? Imagine, if you will, an archer, right, with an arrow. Not archer like phrasing, but an archer with an arrow. Someone with a bow and arrow, and they have one arrow, and they have to hit that target, right? Okay. And then standing next to them is someone with a sort of Looney Tunes Acme bow and arrow that will shoot 500 arrows at once. And the goal for each of these archers is to hit the bullseye. Now, who is more likely to hit the bullseye? But what does that say about individual skill in hitting that bullseye? That's what comes to mind when I listen to that quote. And I don't know that that's necessarily a strategy for success. Correct me if I'm wrong. Thank you, John Migda. I don't follow instructions at work. I get an $800 check or third-degree burns. Yeah, there's that too. I don't. What are they promoting here? If you're not paying attention to what's being said, just how many opportunities do you have? Well, I've got one opportunity to get the good grade if I do the work necessary to get it. If I'm opening up the floodgates to 17 different pathways to get the grade, and I just have to hit one of them, am I missing something here? Is my analogy off? I don't think it is. But
some of those opportunities include explicit instructions in friendly language.
Friendly language.
Establishing a clear grading scale rubric for assignments, and provide check-in opportunities with each child. Allow students to make up opportunities.
Okay, you keep repeating the same things over and over again. Make up work, friendly language, clear grading scale. Yeah, okay, that sounds all boilerplate. It's that first part that I'm really curious about. Equity and access. Access to a high grade. Access to a high grade. Either they have the capabilities to hit a high grade or they don't. What? Are you going to read the other quotes you put up there but haven't paid attention to?
And of course, Quincy Titus from Robert R. Church said this: "My practice is to allow all the students additional time to complete their assignments. All the assignments for the week are due on Friday by 5:30 p.m.
Friday by 5:30 p.m.? This is an elementary school? Okay, I just remember getting out of class at like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. 5:30 p.m. would be like, as a kid, that'd be near onto my bedtime or something if I'm in a first or second grade. But okay, you give all students additional time. Okay, there's no like students with low grades get extra time or something like that. All students get extra time. Okay, I mean that's fair at least.
And finally, Catherine Fry said this: "A best practice that I have for grading is to create or assign work that will thoroughly assess the skills, the standards, but not take too long to complete. This helps keep students more engaged and allow the teachers to provide more immediate feedback to students and parents on their progress."
Create and assign work that will thoroughly assess the skill/standard but not take too long to complete. Okay, what's too long? This helps students more engaged. This helps keep students more engaged and allows the teacher to provide more immediate feedback to students and parents on their progress in class. Well, I mean, as long as whatever you're using, returns some kind of substantive, right there, information on the student's progress, then sure. If you can do that in a brief amount of time for efficiency's sake, especially given how large classrooms are these days, sure, I guess. I'd like some more information on how you make a short but thorough assessment. Okay.
So let's just review some key ideas on best practices.
Let me guess. Are they provide a clear standard of grading structure, giving students feedback, right? What else? Friendly language. Is that it? How is this addressing the statistics you had at the beginning of this presentation?
Educators can structure grading to ensure equity and access to successful grades for students.
How? You haven't described how, or what you've shown will address that. Good grief.
Intentional planning ensures
Intentional
students receive opportunities to engage in grade appropriate tasks and assignments that can assess students' learning.
Well, you know what I love more than intentional planning? It's unintentional planning. Intentional planning. Can you give me an example of unintentional planning? Because unintentional planning to me is something goes my way, and afterwards I say, I meant for that to happen.
Grading that is differentiated for diverse learners provide equity and access for student achievement across all demographics.
Okay, contradicts own point or argument. Either there is a standard grading setup that is fair, or you're going to provide differentiated grading setups across different students. And if that's what you're doing, if you're going to start metering out how you're going to grade each student individually and not set a standard, then there is no standard. I don't know how else to interpret that statement. Okay, either there is a target that has to be hit to achieve the goal of whatever the discipline is, or it's a moving target and it doesn't matter. At that point, it just becomes a participation award. Okay.
And then finally, educators have the knowledge and expertise in grading management and systems and equitable practices, which can be leveraged district-wide.
Okay, well, what opportunities are you providing the educators in your district for professional development? Right? I mean, you haven't talked anything about that. You've stated or indicated multiple times that the educators are able to successfully teach students in all areas or whatever. Why? Why are they able to do that? What are you doing to ensure that? What resources are being made available to the educators in your district to possibly achieve that? Just saying it doesn't make it so. Alyssa doesn't lie. Scribelight, what they're doing is trying to pass kids by the skin of their teeth so they don't slip through the cracks when they don't deserve to progress to the next grade level. Yeah, is that a healthy way to educate? I mean, don't get me wrong. Like I say, I am not sitting here claiming I have the answers to the problem of education writ large. I don't, obviously. But I don't understand how you can, not you, Alyssa, but the presenters here, how they can talk about academic success and access and equity and standard grading practices, but then say, we're going to shift it, we're going to scale it based on the individual student's abilities. And at the same time indicate that, provide as many opportunities as possible to have access to the higher grade. That sounds like you're stacking the deck. It just sounds like an admission of stacking the deck to get the outcomes on paper that you want damned be the actual outcomes in ability or cognitive skills. Follow up from Melissa. I experienced this in high school. Grading student by individual growth is not acceptable, productive, or fair. Yes. Here's the thing. If a kid sucks at math, they just suck at math. They're always going to be a C average kid on math. Mathematics just does not make sense to them. That's not a terrible thing. That's not some kind of sin. I got through high school on a very, very low math score. But my language skills were through the roof. By comparison, there was a kid in my class who was practically a human computer, but he had the language and social skills of a walnut. Everybody's different at different things. And so it's like, oh, you're doing off. There was a video I did, if you can believe it, a while back. It was from the National Association of Independent Schools. And it was between two teachers, and it was about grading. It was about grading for equity or grading for equality or something. And the one teacher was talking about how in the course of his being, grading students, he'd feel bad for students, and he caught himself becoming a point fairy, just adding points to make the kid feel better. And he talked about this like it was no big deal. And I was like, wait, you're cheating on behalf of your student. Not only are you giving the student a false sense of success in any particular subject, you're setting them up for failure in the future if they encounter a teacher or a situation that is not so benevolent, quote unquote. Right? That doesn't make any sense.
So we're now on the last portion of our agenda.
Okay.
Bridge to practices.
Bridge to practices.
So part of the bridge to practice is to prepare.
Yeah.
Using MSES grading maps, grading protocols, and grading guidance documents.
Wait. Grading protocols, map, and guidance for all students? Or is it just a suggestion and you have to, parse it out based on the individual student ability? I'm confused now. You've told me two different versions of reality over the course of this presentation.
And adopted content material will explore possible tasks to use in grading for the fourth quarter of instructions. Then we're going to jump into planning. In your PLC meetings, you will discuss and determine task assignments to use for grading during the fourth quarter of instructions.
Fourth quarter.
And then we're going to implement equitable grading best practices for all students.
Equitable.
During the fourth quarter and beyond.
Yeah, equitable. Equality of outcome. I'm still waiting for equality. We haven't gotten to equality yet, but as far as equity goes, yes. If you're going to craft each grading protocol per student ability in each subject to quote unquote provide them all the opportunities necessary to access the higher grade, yeah, you'll get equity, all right. You'll get equity. It'll be built on sand, and you'll be setting these kids up for failure when they encounter the real world. But yeah, no, you'll feel better about it. Your numbers will look good, I guess. Is that what you're planning to do? Is that how you're going to address the data and statistics you presented at the beginning of this? If region, what was it, the Northeast region or Southeast region? If the Southeast region has lousy grades coming from this racial demographic, are you going to implement a completely different grading scale for that racial demographic to address the problem? Because I don't know what other conclusion to come to, since you didn't give us any information on how one is going to solve the other.
Now we have Dr. Angela Whitelaw,
Okay.
the Deputy Superintendent of Schools and Academic Support.
Okay.
And she has a message to encourage you to continue those equitable changes.
Equitable changes.
We hope you take what you learned today and add it to your toolbox of resources and strategies.
You hope? Isn't this instruction from the district? What, is this a gamble? I mean, are these the district standards or aren't they? Are these the district protocols or aren't they? I'm given the ability to ignore them as a teacher. What?
Students can learn without grades, but they can't learn without timely and descriptive feedback. Equitable and proactive grading practices begin with you. And I know you have what it takes to bridge our grading gaps.
Are you just assuming that I have what it takes? You're not going to test me on it first to make sure that I have the ability? Oh, okay.
As we reimagine education in Memphis, Shelby County schools. Together, we must believe. Together, we will achieve. Together, we are reimagining 901.
Okay, I'm stopping it there on the off chance that somehow that musical cue is... What did I just watch? Okay, I understand that there is some inside baseball stuff there, and they were ostensibly talking shop with people who actually are educators and working in the district. So they're referring to things, materials, and subjects and areas of the district that, you know, I would know offhand if I actually lived and worked there. I get that part. But setting aside all the, you know, localized information, what did that actually tell us? I mean, the implications of what it told me were more worrying than anything else. I didn't see anything that said, here is how we're going to address the problem, or here is what we are proposing solves for the disparities we saw earlier. Right? I mean, I'll give them some credit. Again, they brought up parents, which doesn't happen very often, and there wasn't any, aside from splitting everything up on the basis of racial demographics, I didn't really get the sense that they were ever implying an inequity because of those disparities. Of course, they kept talking about equity, so... Okay, well, I'm going to turn it over to you guys for a few minutes here while I get close to wrapping things up, because I don't know. And again, for those of you that either are or have been involved in the, let's say, the educational vocation, who have some more insight into what we just saw that can explain it to the rest of us, by all means, leave a lengthy comment if you are so inclined in the comments once this is published. And I'll read some comments here from those of you joining me this morning. Because I would like to know, do the things that I highlighted as being confusing or worrying to me, just as an observer, are my concerns legitimate? Are my confusions something that can be explained elsewise? That's what I'd ask. That's what I'd ask. John Migda, Scribe, you make me stupider. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Sounds like a personal problem. Jeanette, not a lick of shit, except there's a problem and the solution will solve itself. That's, I guess. I mean, again, I'm limited in what the presentation provides us, and it wasn't a whole heck of a lot. If I was a parent with a kid at Shelby County Schools, I'd have a lot of questions. Ryan R., they really said nothing related to the difference in the numerical scales from the beginning of the presentation, just subtly cheerleading grade inflation. I thought that's what they were going to do. It's like, here's the changes we made, right? Here's why we made those changes. Because I thought when they presented the data, that was kind of their, here's why we did it, but they didn't really make that connection. And then, at least in my mind, you would then move on to, and here's how these changes are going to address the problems. Actually, I would have flipped it. I would have said, here are the disparities and current success outcomes in Shelby County Schools. Here are the changes we've made to the grading system as a result of those situations, and here's how that addresses the problem. That would make sense to me. That would make sense to me as an intentional plan for a presentation. You're ridiculous lunatic. Describe of a Streamlabs link. I do not. I don't have Streamlabs. I guess it's been a long time since I explained this. I looked into Streamlabs as relates to me, because here's the problem. Streamlabs, if you send me money on Streamlabs, okay, the bank that I work with, you will get a reply on your credit receipt or your card record or whatever with my direct information on it. Since my bank account is not some sort of like anonymous business bank account, you'll get my information, which obviously I don't feel comfortable having out there just kind of floating around. So that's the problem. I need to find, if I'm ever going to have a Streamlabs or something like that, I need to find and have assured that whoever I'm working through isn't going to be doing that. And that is a risk that happens sometimes with Streamlabs, and I'm not willing to take the roll of the dice on that one. So, and now, granted, I haven't looked into it in so long. Maybe they've addressed that since then. If somebody told me that and I could figure that out, then maybe, but elsewise, no. So there's that. So yeah, if you want to donate, I am very appreciative, but Google will get their cut of 30%. So there you go. England DG. So look up New Leaders Cohort. This is where this stems from. Believe it or not, this is marketing for RAND, which is selling an educational approach to school districts. Well, that's what I was wondering, sort of sidewise with that Wonders thing. They kept bringing up their school materials was by something called Wonders. Yeah, like they're pitching in all their critical thinking skills into some course materials written by some company. There's probably giving some kind of kickback to the district or so. I don't know. I'm starting to get into conspiracy theories here, but yeah, especially when they talked about SEL, when they talked about social emotional learning. Let's see. RAND. Okay, yeah, I think I got you. But anyway, they are selling a professional learning approach. They literally sell a program materials. Think of this like Amway for education. Yeah, that was the other thing. That was kind of what came to mind when I saw the same name and titles and company names on the materials they were putting out there. Like you're getting all your information from one perspective, one packaged perspective. You know, it's sort of like sitting kids in front of a television set and playing videos from the History Channel, and just that's your educational plan. I don't know. Dax Orion, ask Irate Alex. He helped me set up mine. Pretty sure it doesn't give out my info. LOL. Yeah, like I said, I haven't looked into it for so long. It's not been a priority for me. Yeah, so I don't want to get too deeply into this. It's just, yeah, I mean, people have asked me for a Streamlabs link or a Patreon for so long. I'll explain my neuroses one more time. I'm sure I'll do it again in the future. Setting up something where people can pay me for this, like on a reciprocating basis, like on a Patreon where it's scheduled or something, that would feel like a job. I don't want this to feel like a job. If it turns out at some point that I have to, or I decide to make this a career, that'll change. But for the time being, a glorified hobby. That's what I want to take a look at. And I appreciate it. Trust me, I cannot express, I do not have the vocabulary. The poverty of my vocabulary exists that I cannot express to you how much I appreciate not only your generosity when it comes to donations and things, but just your attendance, just showing up and interacting and being part of this little weird family we've created over the years. That is so gratifying to me, and I really appreciate it beyond anything that has to do with dollars and cents. I really do appreciate that. Speaking of which, the idea has been floated, and now it's come to me directly from Ranting Monkey, that at some point in the near future, there may be a one-off or some kind of reunion of Lords of the Night, me, Ranting Monkey, and Satsu. I can't give you an exact date yet. The idea is being floated out there. We're just kind of somewhat discussing it in DMs and such, but the idea is out there, so keep your ears and your eyes open for that. Follow me on Twitter, because when the time comes, if the time comes, I'll definitely be extolling it on there. And you can see the Twitter on the screen there, scribe_light. Links to other things are in the description. Also, if I didn't already say it, and I think I did, check out P-Dog Night. They haven't. I don't know what he's referring to, but P-Dog Night has plenty to offer every morning on the P-Dog Night Show. That's the I'm going to screw it up. It's the night in the morning. God, I should know this. I've only been looking at this show for years, and you've been on a couple of times. Morning Night Live. That's what I meant to say. The Morning Night Live. I didn't get much sleep last night, guys. I apologize. And, I feel somewhat apologetic to Shelby County Schools in this. I understand my tone was critical and my questions were a bit acidic, but I'm sure that they're doing everything that they can, and they're fine people. I just have major concerns based on this presentation, and admittedly, only this one presentation, that they are benevolently setting up their students for more hardship than they are resolving current academic struggles. So that's my thinking on that. Yes, P-Dog Night, the Morning Night Live, 10 a.m. Eastern on his channel. Yeah, so go check out P-Dog Night. Look it up on the Twitter machine. You can find it there. I'm sure somebody will be friendly enough to put the link to his channel in the description for me. And yeah, Mike R., you suggested it. Did you suggest it to Ranting Monkey too? Because it was just kind of coincidental that you suggested it on a Thursday, and then was it Friday or Saturday or whatever? Suddenly, Monkey messages me and says, "Hey, what do you think about getting together for a Lords of the Night reunion?" I thought to myself, did Mike R. get to you? Maybe he did. Either way, everyone, I'm going to call it there. Again, for those of you that have educational backgrounds or educators yourselves, your friendly languaged feedback would be most appreciated in the comments. I'm curious to find out what you guys think about what they presented here in the presentation. And if you think it's good, if it's bad, if it's standard, if it's off the ranch, as it were, let me know. If you'd like to hear more from me, you can find me here Thursday nights at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern for TED Excellence, where each week I go over an off-brand TED Talk for education and enlightenment. I call it Enlightenation. Edgement? Something. Maybe I'll call it Equality. Thank you for joining me, everybody. Everybody who donated, thank you so much for your generosity. I really do appreciate it. Moderators, thank you for your time and efforts. Even though everybody here is so well behaved, you have very little to do. Also, again, take a look at the GoFundMe's pinned to the top of the chat box for Shady Grin, Angry Illinoisian, and his kitten. They, their family, and their friends could certainly use your help if you have a couple of extra bucks. So everyone, have a good rest of your Sunday. Have a good rest of your weekend overall. Hope you all have a good week ahead of you. I hope you're all safe and well. If you are not well, please get well soon, and I will see you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.